My 11 Circle presents Cricbuzz Live. Quite the run fest that we expected, but strangely not quite the storm of sixes that just shows that even without hitting them out of the park, enough boundaries, enough running to get a monumental 223 for 2 for Kings 11 Punjab, and it will be the highest ever run chase successful in the IPL if Rajasthan are to go and register 2 points in this game. Let's quickly remind you of who were the personnel who got the runs on the board. Mayank Agarwal, with two friends really batting together from Bangalore, Mayank Agarwal and KL Rahul. 69 of 54 was Rahul playing second fiddle today to his friend. 106 of 50 deliveries, absolutely outstanding. And then just a little bit of fun and games at the end for Glenn Maxwell and Nicholas Pooran. 25 of 8 balls to take it to 223 for 2. In the studio, Joy Bhattacharjya and Harsha Bhogle. Harsha, we sort of expected this in Sharjah, but even without the sixes, you can still get a big score.
What is it about Sharjah? Have the wickets flattened? Have the batsmen become stronger? We used to go there and the ball didn't disappear as often as it did now. I was just checking with Deepu on what the average score was. Through the 90s, when we saw a lot of cricket there, average ODI score was 227. So it wasn't that those players were lesser players than these. So what has changed? I don't know if it's the mindset or for T20, they're just preparing flatter decks. But average T20 scores here were what? 150, 160 in 2014. That's not too far away. So something else has happened. Maybe this year it's just too flat. But if I'm in that Rajasthan Royals dugout at the moment, I'm saying Jofra Archer, Tom Curran, two bona fide players, 4 overs 46, 4 overs 44, international bowlers. If they could go, then there's Shami Cottrell, but thereafter there's two leggies, Neesham and Maxwell. Let's go and get those. There might be a batsman short, but I think that's what they should be thinking. But Agarwal, fantastic. I've loved watching a Mayank Agarwal bat, from a T20 player to a test player to back to being a T20 player. Oh, fabulous.
Yeah, that range, Joy, I think, is what Harsha just hit the nail on the head. A guy who's gone and made his test debut at the MCG on Boxing Day. It's completely different from what he's done today, and these are sensational figures. 10 fours, 7 sixes. Sixes, of course, we were going to expect them, but the first shot that he hit, I think just stepping down over extra cover for 6 set the tone for the innings.
No, absolutely. In fact, the first season of Cricbuzz that we did in 2018, I was, I used to call him Cinderella because he would do these really pretty 20-25s and he'd get out just like Cinderella at midnight used to run. And all I can say is that every good fairy tale has a happy ending. So there's a happy ending to this. I'm delighted because, even those days you could see in that 25-30 the class of the shot making, the time he has. And the fact that he's now got it together and putting together this absolutely amazing record, whether it's a first class cricket, which is where he scored a mountain of runs to come into test cricket, then test cricket, and then T20 cricket. I'm just delighted for the man because he's always had the talent. Now he's finally showing it exactly what he's got.
Harsha, Joy and I briefly discussed on Cricbuzz Combox about how Rahul was able to play second fiddle, and we sort of equated it to Warner Bairstow when they were going great guns.
Slightly more second than he would have liked to as a fiddler. 69 or 54. He might have wanted to go a little quicker than that. But I mean, what can you complain about? When you made 223, you don't worry. Also, they didn't want to lose too many wickets, get 2 overs, quiet overs slipped in. So from that point of view, I think absolutely fine. Yeah, fantastic to see that number up there, right? 100. How many did they manage? 183. Yeah, fantastic.
And those two we mentioned, Bairstow and Warner, are actually up there, and a very interesting combination in between in Gigi and Chris Lynn, Joy.
Yeah. That was an experiment that could have proved to be a very dangerous experiment, considering that, Gautam Gambhir is so good against spin, so you can't put on the spinner very early. Chris Lynn can really hammer fast bowlers. It just didn't work out. I think they could have stayed with that combination for a while. But just staying here, there are 2 things that you'll notice. One is, we actually had 3 quiet late overs. The 16th, 17th and 18th overs were relatively quiet. They went for 6, 7 and 9 runs. And the reason was, of course, the 2 of them got out, but they looked tired. And here's what I want to say. It's not that these guys are not fit or these guys are not guys who exercise and stay fit. It's just that 5 months of staying away from the game, everybody, by that 16th, 17th over, they were flat out. You could make out they were weary. the shots that they were hitting, they were not being able to hit them that well. And that's actually it's a result of the pandemic rather than the fact that these two guys are as fit as anyone you'll see in Indian cricket. So it's interesting and just told on them. Yeah.
Add to that the on-field temperature. I mean, we often get temperatures in the shade, and obviously it's past sunset now, but the on-field temperature, 43 degrees Celsius. That plays a part, Harsha.
Yeah.
You know all about it.
I'm sure. No, I'm sure. I've actually once done a piece to camera. We were on in Gwalior, where we had to finish the piece to camera within 15, 18 seconds because the thermometer was calibrated only to 50 degrees Celsius. So I had to quickly go check the temperature and bring it back into the shade before the thermometer broke. Now, the point I was making, I think Joy has raised an interesting issue there. Do you look upon this as a 400-meter race, or do you look upon it as a 4x100-meter race? Do various people each come and run 100 meters and then get to 223? Because we've seen this in a couple of other games as well, that batsmen are getting tired when they're batting at that frenetic pace around 15, 16. And if it's a 400-meter race, then you've got Josh Butler, you've got Sanju Samson, you've got all of these. But if the way to win it is 4x100, then I don't know if there's enough firepower going all the way back.
But interesting you should mention that. I mean, I almost started thinking about 4x100 meaning a relay, meaning if these two batsmen were tired and say Pooran and Maxwell got more time in the middle as fresh batsmen, would it have been 240?
No, absolutely. In fact, that's something worth thinking about. One great thing that happened, if you see when they went down, it was that period when they were tired, and then Pooran and Maxwell picked it up in the end. This has actually worked ideally for Punjab, because not only have they had that great start, Pooran has now got some confidence and runs under his belt. That 25 in 8 is typical Pooran innings. Maxwell has got a bit of confidence, so it's worked out every which way for them. For their next match, you have 2 more confident batsmen, so you have 4 confident batsmen instead of just 2. So I think in many ways this is the perfect storm for Kings XI Punjab. Now the question is, how does Rajasthan counter attack? And we've spoken about this, that Rajasthan, just like KKR had everything going wrong on day one, Rajasthan had everything go right for them in day one. And now it's a question of, has this team got enough in them to chase this kind of total?
Well, we've told you about the batting lineup. There it is in front of you. Josh Butler, in addition to the lineup, Steve Smith, we know what he can do. He works it around, but he can be effective. Sanju Samson, explosive. I think now, if they have to win, the likes of Robin Uthappa and Tewatia with the bat will have to come to the party.
Yeah, and here's something interesting for them to read from what Mayank Agarwal said. He said, you've got to give yourself some time because it's not as easy as it seems. It was holding up a bit. If there is dew, then that may not happen. The ball might slide on. But I'll tell you, if Butler gets going, Samson gets going. Oh wow, this is going to be some run chase. So it could work out 2 ways. I mean, if they lose a couple of wickets early, it's going to be a bit of a damn squib. So you don't want Rajasthan to lose a couple of wickets early. I mean, if they can get 70 in the power play, right, we're on.
Yeah, I think that's what they'll have to be careful of. I mean, if you look at the scoreboard and it says 223, your mindset tells you go hard. But if you read what Mayank Agarwal, or if you listen to what Mayank Agarwal said, if they're at the ground, then they should be telling themselves, well, we can also take our time, spend time out there, and we know that our top 3 are going to be key.
No, I completely agree with what Harsha said, and obviously Mayank is saying it for a reason. I think even if the rate goes up to 12, 13, you've still got to tell yourself, if there's any ground in which 12, 13 can be done, this is the ground. The second thing is, they have to pick bowlers. If you're going to try and take Shami on, Shami may give you opportunities anyway, but Shami is taking wickets. If you're going to try and take Shami on early and you lose a couple of wickets, you're done. So you literally tell yourself, I'm not going to take my chances against Shami. I'll pick another bowler because he's in sublime form. There's no point taking unnecessary risks against it. Let me wait for the bad ball. If it doesn't come, it doesn't matter. This is the kind of ground where you can score some 18, 19, 20 run overs. So you've got to play it that way. You can't take unnecessary risks because your batting order is not long enough to allow you to do that.
The other thing I'm not sure if you noticed was the moment Pooran hit that second big shot, Chris Gale was seen leaving the ground to the hardware shop, looking for a job.
No, Gautam, no. I know where you're headed, but I mean, who's to say that Gale may not have hit 15 sixes on his own? I mean, he's hit 17 in a game, But of course, I mean, he's got 40, 41 now, so that has an effect. But I'm thinking what Joy said, is there a bowler to target? I think there's 3 bowlers to target, and if you want to have a go at Cottrell and say, you know, Sheldon, you paid a lot of money, you've been paid, come, let's see how you bowl on this one. I'm going after you early. Then there's Neesham, and there's 3 spinners after that, 2 wristies with a wet ball. So there are bowlers to target there. So you look okay with Shami. Look okay with Shami, though even Shami has been known to be expensive, but he's bowling really well. But look beyond Shami there.
No, I don't think this is a great. If Punjab has a weakness, it's that they don't look a great death bowling side. Shami is not known for his death bowling. Cottrell has bowled decently at the death, but they've bowled it in advantageous conditions to them. This is not a death bowling team. If somebody catches them by the scruff of the neck, I'm wondering, every team has that one guy to throw their ball to. So in this case, that one guy is only Shami. I don't think there's a second bowler that they can really throw the ball to and say, stop the runs now, get me something happening now. And that, I think, is the crucial Punjab weakness. I hope it doesn't prove costly for them. I mean, in this match, they might get away with it because the sheer mountain of runs they have is a lot. But in this tournament, death bowling could be a factor, definitely, in their chases.
Also, Harsha, what Joy mentioned at the start, that as well as Shami might be bowling with his extra pace, the dimensions here in Sharjah are such that he could bowl a really good ball, an edge flies for 6, something goes through the keeper for 4, and he'll be holding his head going, bowled 2 good balls, but they've gone for runs as well.
Look, what did Jofra Archer go for? One of the best T20 bowlers in the world. Jofra Archer, 4 overs, 46. They'll be sitting up there and saying, Jofra Archer, 4 overs, 46. Surely you can go Shami 4 overs, 40, 4 overs, 42, right? If Archer can go there, then what about the others? So Joy is right, 223, the mountain might work in the King's favour, but then there's slights in their bowling.
There certainly is. What it will mean is that power play will be crucial. How hard will they go? Will they adopt the Mayank Agarwal strategy, wait and watch, and then progress? Well, it simply means that we have a bit of a task for ourselves to try and get that My 11 Circle badge of honor, which of course was vastly out of reach. 201 was the maximum that we went. 223 is what they ended up with. So, gentlemen, 6th over for Rajasthan. How hard are they going to go? Never mind how hard they should go. What is our likely prediction?
71.
71. If they get 71, I think they'll be well on their way to victory. Joy, are you going that high?
47.
Ooh.
I think they'll lose a wicket or so.
47.
2 great years for India, 47 and 71.
Did they have any other good years in between? What can I pick in between, like a good wine vintage?
65 was a good year. 65 is a good year. The others had better technology. 65 is a good year.
Fair enough. So we'll go with 3 good years. I was actually going to go 60, but with the margin being 60 and 65, I'll stick to 65. So there we have it. 3 good years. Which one of them will come true? For one thing's for sure, Rajasthan will want it to be 71, and they'll be progressing there. Thank you, gentlemen. We'll see you soon at the end. And of course, 2 of you gentlemen will be busy at the 10 over mark when you bring us Cricbuzz Combox. Till then, we'll see you soon. Thank you for watching My 11 Circle presents Cricbuzz Live.